Well, residents in the northern New South Wales town of Lismore have been left in the lurch twice in the space of 1 month. The State Emergency Service and Bureau of Meteorology have come under attack today for slow and intermittent flood updates. Now, an evacuation order for the Lismore CBD was removed late on Tuesday afternoon, only to be reinstated at 3 a.m. on the Wednesday after more very heavy rain fell overnight. But it gets worse. The local flood siren didn't sound when the levee was breached because of a malfunction in the system. No siren. And rain gauges around Lismore were found to be out by almost half a metre when the SES performed manual checks yesterday morning. It was just a series of comedy capers at a very, very unfunny time. Let's bring in Sky News reporter Adam Walters, who's at a place called Linwood just outside of Lismore. Adam, can I ask you firstly, there they were going through such a heartbreak. Scrutiny applied to just about every federal and state agency we could. How could they get it so wrong, or how could they be so unprepared?
Chris, just an utter debacle. And to say that what we've witnessed in the last couple of days is insult to the injury of 4 weeks ago when we saw that excruciatingly inefficient and slow rescue response that left locals to do the job. It's almost impossible to believe that they could be going through this again. The locals are over the word resilience. They're shattered. 8,000 of them are homeless. They don't want to be told that they're resilient. They're angry. And that was acknowledged by the Emergency Services Minister in New South Wales, Steph Cook, today. This is what she had to say.
A lot of people, for very, very good reason, are very upset at the moment. A lot of people are still displaced. Emergency services organisations are doing the best job that they can with the information that they receive.
That's crucial, that last bit of what she had to say. We're only able to do what information we have at hand. And to be fair to the SES, how can the Bureau get these short-term rainfall predictions so out of whack?
I think, Chris, what we've witnessed in Lismore in the Northern Rivers over the last month is just one breakdown of communication after another involving authorities operating from a remote location. How remote? Lismore 750 kilometres north of Sydney for a start. Some locals think they'd be better off in the hands of the Queensland government. Brisbane's just up the road. They think that's a big part of why the authorities are getting this so horribly wrong. In fact, in a 2020 submission to the Royal Commission into Natural Disasters, the New South Wales government tried to shut down a submission from locals calling for a return to a very simple way of issuing the warnings. They used to rely on local radio stations broadcasting on the hour, and that system worked for decades. A classic case, if it ain't broke, you don't have to fix it. But since then, we've seen a multitude of agencies, a multitude of platforms on various social media outlets, from Facebook to Twitter to the respective websites of Resilience New South Wales, the Rural Fire Service, the SES, and the list goes on. And as if that's not a big enough problem, today we have the Assistant Commissioner, the Acting Commissioner rather, of the SES in New South Wales saying this in defending the malfunction of the emergency siren. He says there are a number of ways to get the information and no one should ever rely on one source of information. So the siren is purely an indication that the levee has overtopped. Now, if that's not trying to retrofit some justification for the unforgivable, it's pretty hard to imagine how that could be expressed in a more explicit way. And that the locals are saying that's exactly what the problem is. Yeah. It's too much information coming from too many sources. They want the government to keep it simple to avoid yet another debacle.
That response was just a terrible cop-out today. Adam Walters, thank you very much for that report. Dear, oh dear.